About 6 months ago, I got diagnosed with ADHD. So we did 1,500 Freedom of Information Acts across the UK to all the councils. What is your council reserves? How much have you allocate to social care? Did you put the full increase on council tax?
How are we supposed to retain the staff that we have?
I invest into challenging what's not right for them. I sit and just challenge national insurance, but actually my message is, you are disabling me from paying my staff better. I find that really selfish, because actually if you've thought of something that can better the lives of other people, share it, because that's what I do. I tell everyone, I'm like, well, I'm doing this registration, and people are like, and I'm like, well, others might want to do it. They bring different expertise. I can focus on the passion, the element, the functions, what I want it to do as a 360 solution. The person I've collaborated is tech, business, sales, and match made in heaven. Then the next story comes out, we're doing something amazing, and then all of a sudden, oh, another scandal. I'm thinking, hang on, who's controlling the media here? Because it's all very timely, and what you don't see every day is the 16,000 care providers.
Hello and welcome to today's podcast where we talk to Katrina Hall, who is the CEO and founder of Bay Care, which is a domiciliary business covering Torquay and the surrounding areas. In this podcast, we talk about her journey through care, as well as the changing landscapes within the social care sector and her movement with Providers Unite. Enjoy. What was it like kind of growing up in Torquay? Because you started in care super young.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So there's a bit of story for that.
Please.
So I was brought up in an area that's not so nice.
Okay.
So when I was a lot younger, we didn't have a lot of money. We had no money. Okay, we were one of those benefit families, and unfortunately, I lost my parents when I was 14.
Yeah.
And I went into foster care for a little bit. Had some really, really bad experiences, and then back then, I used to read the newspaper at 14. I'm quite impressed with that now, actually, when I say that back. And they used to have sort of job ads in there. And the care home, it was Grangeley, over in Paynton, had a job advert in there for a carer. But it didn't specify how old you've got to be. So I was like, oh, I'm going to apply for that. And at 14, I'd already dyed my hair bleach blonde. And I was already dressing like I was a 20-year-old instead of a 14-year-old. And I applied for the job. And I got an interview, and I was so excited. I think I walked. It was a 6-mile walk to go to the interview, and it was absolutely boiling. So went in the care home. It was just amazing. So the moment I walked in, I just always connected with older people. And I walked in and I seen all these people just sat there knitting, drinking tea. I just felt really at home after the trauma that I'd just been through. Had the interview. She was like, that's absolutely amazing. You seem like just the right candidate. And I said, brilliant. And she goes, hang on, you're only 14. And I was like, yeah. She went, you're not old enough to work in care. And I was like, what? Oh my God, hang on, I'll do anything. She's like, I'm really sorry, I can't take you on. So I left the care home, was literally coming to the bottom of the drive, and she rang me back and said, look, the owner's just seen you. He's here decorating in the care home, and he wants me to offer you a job as a tea girl.
Wow.
So I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
It was on like something like £1.10 an hour.
Okay.
Which back then I was like, yeah, I'm 14 and I've got a job. I still had a paper round as well. So I was like, yeah, 2 jobs in one. So so I got the job, started as a tea girl, but I did so much more than tea girl. I was running around answering bells. I was doing all the activity. So if we was in today's market, I probably did 5 people's jobs for the price of £1 an hour. And yeah, I just absolutely loved it. I had a lot of envy over the carers. So I used to look at them and be like, I want to wear that uniform. I want to be that carer. They were all doing their MVQs back then. So I was like, can I photocopy? I don't even think it was a photocopy back then. I think it was like a fax that copied. I think it was one of those. I'm sounding really old now. And I just copied all their work and said, right, give me copies of that. I'm going to do my MVQs. And that's what I did. So from the age of 14 right up to 17, when I was allowed to start my qualifications, I'd completed my level 2 and 3 MPQ and submitted them on my 17th birthday when I was old enough, and got qualified in both qualifications within a couple of months.
Why were you so driven?
I think
young.
when I lost my family, I had my 2 sisters, and I was like, I'm the middle child, but I just had drive. And I think grief can send you one way or the other, can't it? And for me, I just had so much ambition, and I wanted to be that person that could one day live in a house that they own, not a council house, have 6 dogs. One called Jezza. Those sort of things, we did have a really hard upbringing. I think, our idea of going clothes shopping, we used to go to a tip. My mom used to take me to a tip where they had all recycled clothes, which were free. And we'd go there and pick our clothes up from there. So I'd sort of used all those experiences to be like, no, I want better for me, my sisters, and the only person that's going to get that is me. So by getting a job, and I think initially when I went to the care home, I thought it would just be a job. I was thinking of the money, of course I was. I was like, I can just get a job. I don't want to do a paper round forever, but I want a job, and I didn't want to serve teas and coffees. I didn't want to do waitress. I've got the worst shaky hands ever. I just couldn't even do that at 14. And then once I started it, I just absolutely loved it and just knew there was nothing else I was going to do.
What were the early days like?
The care home?
Yeah.
Oh, love.
Between like 14 and 21.
Oh, it was just amazing. And back then, care wasn't as advanced, not as complex as it is now. So we used to go to the pub. Used to be like, right, come on, Bob, we're going down to the pub. And I'd be like, my 6-hour shift would be 4 hours in the pub with Bob, and then 2 hours trying to get him back up the hill to the care home after. But and that, imagine in today's market, taking a client to a pub and bringing them home drunk, I'd be out of a job. But it was those sort of things, and just all the activity side of stuff. They were very able. So clients then were helping with the meal prep. They were cleaning the care home. They're decorating it. They got really involved. But within my time as things progressed, I had the drive. I needed more. I needed more. I was doing 12 hours a day, 6 days a week for years and years, like 16 years. I was doing just constant 12-hour shifts, back-to-back shifts. And I was like, I love this job, but I just don't want to work for someone for the rest of my life. And I don't want to stay in the same building every day. So I leave my house to go to that house. And although it was rewarding, it was like, I need a little bit more. And that's when obviously I decided that I was going to do both. I was going to build a business and stay in the care home.
So you kind of did those in parallel?
Yeah.
Building of Bay.
Yeah.
And also the care home.
So the owner of the care home, Alan, he's my business partner for my business.
Oh, okay.
So he's the one that got me the job at 14. He was the one that was painting the corridors. So I went up to him and said, look, I love you to pieces, but I don't want to work for you for the rest of my life. And he was like, tell me what you want to do. Give me a business plan. And I was like, oh my God, I don't have to write a business plan. So I did. I figured it out. And he said, right, let's do it then. And he's like, I'll give you that office down the bottom. It was like a shed in the garden. It wasn't an office. It was a shed in the garden. And then I used to finish my 12-hour shift, go down to the shed, do a load of work until about 10, and then restart back in the care home at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I did that until I had enough to present to show that actually we can do this. We can set up another business. And I did it with him.
I don't want to gloss over the fact that, am I right in saying that you were the youngest registered manager?
I was, yeah.
And what age was that? That was
21.
21.
But I was acting manager for the care home from 19.
Right.
So CQ, it wasn't CQC at the time. It was, I want to say like BY, something like that. I can't remember what the regulator was called before. They knew that I wasn't old enough to run the service, but they were like, well, she's been doing it. So they allowed me 2 years.
Really?
Pending, because I had my level 5 as well. I'd completed all the qualifications. So legally, I was trained and qualified for the position, but CQC's rules were you have to be 21. And then on my 21st birthday, I went and had my interview.
Just like at 17, now at 21.
I know, it was amazing. So, and he even said to me, the guy was like, you are the youngest registered manager in the data set, and you should be really proud of yourself.
Wow.
I was like crying my eyes out, and sort of couldn't believe it really. And we did a massive party with all the clients and got all their family members. It was really lovely moment. But then soon after that, because of the way I work, I'm like, well, what's next? So I've sort of reached the top now. What can I do? And yeah, again, that just took me back to starting my own company.
And what was the vision for Baker when you first started? What was
So initially it was, we've got the care home. What we'll do is we'll do intermediate care in the care home. Anyone that needs to stay full time will stay, and anyone that needs to go home with a package of care, we can offer them that as well.
right?
So it was just really giving sort of the 360
Yeah.
service. That was the plan, and we'd hired someone in to run the service for us,
Right.
so that it didn't affect me at the care home, so I could do both jobs. Which again for me was like, oh, I get out the home. I'm in the home 3 days a week. I get out the home for 2 days a week. So for me, it was like having a new job, a new project. Loved it. So, but the vision was never to be sort of as big as we are now. It was just to get things right, do things right, and maybe in a different way. So from someone quite young looking in, I could see how things could just be done so differently, more innovative. But then as I've been in the sector longer, I realise it's not the providers that prevent innovation. It comes from the top. So, still learning now at 38. So, yeah, so the plan was always to do the right thing and offer the best service and give people jobs, really, and be a good employer.
And when you kind of look at, Baker from the where you started it to now, you've grown tremendously over that period of time.
Yeah.
What would you contribute to that growth?
I think just being real and innovative. So I was quite open about it on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago that for a long time I've felt that I'm quite hyperactive. And about 6 months ago, I got diagnosed with ADHD.
Really?
Impulsive, hyperactive ADHD, which for years everyone's like, Kat, I don't know how you work at the level that you work at, because I'm always really high functioning. So I struggle to have a day off. So if I've got a day off, I'm anxious. I'm like, oh no, I need to be on a project. I need to be doing something. And I'm the type of person, in the middle of the night, I wake up with a business idea every day. Got like a little black book next to my bed, which I'll write stuff in, and then be like, right, I've solved this problem, So, for me, that's sort of how my brain works. It doesn't allow me to stop, and I always want to innovate. But when people come up to me and say, Kat, why don't we do things this way? I won't just be like, no, like, actually, you've got something there. What can we do with that? How can we, expand that and share it? And I think that's why we've done so well, is I am a true believer of collaboration. Don't think you can ever do anything on your own. And that's, bit me in the backside sometimes. You think people are trying to talk to you for the right reasons, but actually they're after something. So I have learnt, well, sort of, learned, but I think I've got the time day for everyone. I wouldn't ask anyone to do something that I wouldn't be happy doing. And I'm all for my team. So we want to make sure clients get outstanding service, but I've also got my team back. Now, if they're in trouble, come to me. We do loads of wonderful schemes for our staff. If they don't drive, we put them through driver lessons, pay for half their tests. And then when they pass, we give them a brand new car, which they can use all the time in their own time. And we fund it all for them. We do like staff appreciation every month, staff events. We do everything that we can just to make a not that nice job sometimes really appealing to them. So
I think that's so important when you look at the sector, the recruitment challenges going into the sector. Yeah, how are you getting the next generation to come into care, just like you did at 14? Like you had that inclination, a little bit of money, and then you kind of found yourself as soon as you went into the service. How do you use those experiences to bring more people into the space?
And I think that was the thing. My first thought was I want to work at care because I want some money. That is still a thing. People don't want to go and do a job unless they're getting paid like
Of course.
and we do rely on a lot of goodwill in the sector, a hell of a lot of goodwill. And I think even before we used to have a lot of older people that were coming through the doors, but that's stopped now. We don't get as many older carers coming through. And with regards to the new carers, they'll come in for placements. So they'll come in whilst they're training up to their nursing or OTing, and we only have them for 6 months, some 12 months, and then they don't want to stay in the sector. And I do think a lot of that is down to money. It's down to the hourly rate, the way that a lot of them are treated by people in the community. Unfortunately, it's not very nice. We have a lot of people that will look at the staff like slaves, unfortunately, and it just puts them off, the pressure. I mean, community care is hard. If you imagine you've got a 7-hour shift and you've got to see 7 clients, sometimes 8, sometimes 9, and if you have an emergency in between, then you're running behind on schedule. It's really hard driving around. You've got new people on your run that you've never had before. You've got to find them, navigating all that, all those different personalities to deal with, all those different family members that are there, those care notes, the different medication. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And if someone said to 14-year-old Kat, do you want to go and work in the community? I would have said no. In the care home, it's all in one area, and I sort of moulded in, and if I wasn't performing in one area, someone else would pick that up for me. But when you're in the community, if you're not performing, you're in trouble. If no one's picking up your slack or things you've forgotten, actually the next kin's ringing in and kicking off because you've forgotten to do this, and they don't want you back because you're now the worst carer in the world. But actually, whilst you were there, Betty had another issue with something else. You were fixing a light that you weren't supposed to do, probably planted a plant in a pot that she wanted, all those other nice things, but you forgot to empty the dishwasher. So, it's sometimes really challenging for them to accept that. And I think if they were paid more for what they're doing, I think we'd encourage the market in. And if there's still that old stigma that's attached to, are we wiping people's bums?
Yeah.
And I think, removing that and making it a professional, a recognised professional pathway is the way we're going to encourage people in. But we already do that. We give them the qualifications. We put them through their assistant practitioners, their complex clinical. But we do that. But then because we're local authority funded, we can't pay them more.
Yeah.
Because the council still want us to do the same for less.
Yeah.
So it needs to come from the top down, that pathway. And I think I'm watching on the news and people are like, oh, we're going to build a new pathway and we're going to make it a more more professional career. We've already got it all there. We've got it all there. There's 8 new titles they're bringing out for the pathway in the sector. We have that, but we just can't fund it. And until those questions are answered, who's going to fund it? Fair pay agreement, who's going to fund it? It's all lovely. It's what we want. But nobody's putting their hands up to say, hello, we're going to fund that. So it's, but no backing.
And it's interesting, looking at kind of the pathway that you've gone through in your own career, being 14, coming into the sector, 21, you're then a registered manager, youngest ever, and then you're growing this fantastic business. And to your point of, was it enough? Is there more to be done? You then became the ginormous advocate of Providers Unite.
I love it.
So
yeah,
why was that set up originally?
So with Providers Unite, that was National Care Association. They set up the platform Providers Unite. So that was a NADRA and the National Care Association board. So that was initially formed to write a letter to the Chancellor, which I signed. So the day I think they launched Providers Unite, I'd been launching my petition, which was to exempt social care providers from the NI. And then we sort of met in the middle and we were like, hang on, what you're doing, what am I doing? We're doing the same sort of thing. We need to unite and let's push out the both of them together. And that's sort of how it come about, really. And then I set up a WhatsApp group, and Nadia and Victoria, who's sort of project managing the Providers Unite, and Nikki, we just all come together and we love working together. And I'm a lady, I'm a lady that loves other leading ladies, and they're all beautiful people and they're doing it for the right reasons. And we just had a room full of us like, what we're going to do next? No, we can't have that. And you've got me that's impulsive. I'm like, let's just tackle it. Let's go for it. And you've got Nikki that's the sort of media. She does all the filming and stuff, and she just comes out with the most creative ideas. And then you've got Nadia and Victoria's very strategic, and we all complement each other really well. And they keep me behind the scenes a little bit sometimes just so I don't run off. But we all complement each other really well, and people believed in us. I've got a reputation for going online and just saying it how it is. So the other girls are a bit more tactful than I, but I go on because I'm a provider, and things are frustrating me, and they will continue to frustrate me. And and on LinkedIn, I'm like, why are people not just saying it? Why do we just not have it out? And some people won't like what I say or agree with it, But I just think, right, I'm going to dump it and let's see. And actually, all I've learned from that is that I'm not on my own.
No.
You know, there's 2,500 of us in a WhatsApp chat now, and everyone in there, we're engaging every day. We're talking about things, we're sharing ideas, we're sharing resources. It's just brilliant. Like today, it's going off because we've got the annual fee review. No, it's not the fee review. What is it? The annual budget. So it's quite active again today. But I just love it. And I had a lady that messaged me, and she was suicidal because she was going to have to sell her care business.
Oh, she was in the sector dealing with uplifts.
And because she'd joined the group,
Yeah.
she'd seen that I was admin on there, she reached out to me. And I just give her some reassurance. And I said to her, you're not alone. This is like really normal. And this is what we're going to do. Do you know what? We're going to change that dialogue in your head right now. And we're going to fight. Let's fight. Because if you can't do it on your own, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And if I can't help you, someone else is going to help you. And then it changed her life. She might not have been here the next day, but she rethought, we regrounded, we carried on talking, we still talk, and she's thriving. She's doing amazing, but she changed that dialogue to fight. And I think a lot of people, we've got amazing associations out there, but I think there's something quite different about having that provider-led movement. There's more passion. It's more raw. And I certainly sit there, and sometimes, I've had people comment saying, oh, it's a witch hunt in there, and it's just people moaning sometimes. And that's passion. That is people venting, because that's what the space is. It's for you to have a safe space. Let's vent. No, you're not alone. And actually, if you say something that people don't agree with, they'll tell you. So, and it will stop you saying it again. So it'll protect you. And that's what Providers Unite have come. It's a family. It's a community. And we've just launched the Data Cube now as well.
Which is what? What's the
Data Cube? So we did 1,500 Freedom of Information Acts across the UK, so all the councils. What is your council reserves? How much have you allocate to social care? Did you put the full increase on council tax to fund us? We want minutes of your meetings to see your impact assessments on how you reached your figure. What are your figures for all services, direct payments? Why didn't you go with this rate? Why didn't you support the next? We've done hundreds of questions to the councils. We've done a load to the Department of Health and Social Care as well, all backed by MPs. And all of that information, so every fee rate in the whole of the UK, we have that information, and we put it into a big data cube so the public can now go in. So there's no more hiding. There's no more saying, because we've got the government saying they've given the money to the councils to fund us, and we've got the council saying the government haven't given the money. So what we've done is give everyone the information that they need, and they can go in there. We could challenge, we were whistleblowing, someone's lying. And actually, when you're in your regional areas and you think, I can't tackle this, I'm just me. Now you're in Providers Unite. Well, actually, we can get the data, and we can expose when people are lying.
Wow.
So that data cube is full of that. So people will just be able to go on, search up their authority, see national averages, see why they haven't been increased, and challenge it. So
where is that? Where can I find that?
That's on the Providers Unite website.
Okay.
So that was new news. I put it on my LinkedIn yesterday.
Wow.
And what we're saying as well was, with the peer-to-peer support, you get providers. So if you're a provider in Essex, you don't probably want to go and challenge your council because you're worried your business is going to get affected. But I tell you what, I'll come and do your council, you do my council.
Wow.
I'll tell you what I'm going to challenge with mine. We might want to align. If you've got different pain points, talk to me about your pain points, and I'll take it on for you. And that's what we can do. So people don't have that fear of their businesses not getting given work, because that's happened before. People have gone for judicial reviews and they've had contracts pulled.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to give them that protection as well, that extra layer, so they feel that they can challenge, because you wouldn't go on holiday and arrive in your room and have no bed and not say nothing about it, would you? And this is what's happening in the sector. We're all just sitting quiet, and we can't anymore. So Providers Unite is, we're not a moment, we are a movement, and we're here to stay. Definitely.
What's the vision for Providers Unite next? You're whistleblowing, you've got that transparency. What's next?
And it's the data. We have got some other things planned, which you can't talk about yet.
Oh.
Yeah, it's hugely confidential. But I think it's just keeping it as a provider-led movement, and it's also asking people what they want. So we have regular meetings, and there's certainly some topics coming up, people wanting us to consider what the long-term model of Providers Unite looks like, because we've been very keen on making sure it's not another association. We've got more than enough associations out there doing brilliant things. So we don't want to be stepping on anyone's toes either, but we do still want the voice. So again, it will go back to everyone in Providers Unite. What do we want? We have some more radical suggestions.
Like what?
But no. But we have to rein some people in with it, and to them it seems like a really good idea. But when you're looking at a movement that's got national providers in that have all done that, tried that, so it didn't work, and actually we've got learning among us as well. So I think we can be more strategic with what we do next. I think the data cubes it's only been launched 1 day ago.
Yeah.
So it took us a long time to get all that information. If you imagine when you do freedom of information, it's 28 days, and then they'll send you back something and it's rubbish. So you're asking for more. There's another 28 days. And, Victoria and Nikki, they have been working really hard behind the scenes to get all that information in there. And we're just going to keep adding to it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
One of the biggest challenges that I've heard providers facing recently is the national insurance increases.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of saw that as of April, hitting a, cost of 10+% in some instances.
Yeah.
What have you seen from the national insurance increases for the providers that you talk to?
Shocking. For me as a provider alone, so my national insurance was 258,000 a year extra.
Yeah.
And then they hit me with the international recruitment, 32% increase. So that was another 180 grand. And then the national minimum wage. So it's a lot. And all of that exceeds any margin I've ever made.
Yeah.
So there's nothing there. We've had to make cuts. We've made cuts. We're reviewing technology that we're using. Our innovation fund has stopped. So, and from other providers that I've been speaking to in different areas, so this isn't stuff that I've done, but other providers, stuff they've done to try and plug the gap is they've removed uniforms.
Okay.
Because they're costly.
Yeah.
They're asking staff to buy their own PPE and submit receipts now, so it's less wasteful. They're reducing the quality of PPE.
Yeah.
So a lot of us use the allergy-free gloves, etc., but they're going straight back to the old vinyl, that ripping your hands sort of stuff. So cuts are being made to like client welfare phone calls, and where they used to get them sort of every month, they're getting them every couple of months now. Where we post out newsletters, that's all been stopped. Staff rewards, staff events, wellbeing clinics for clients. So a lot of people will hold like monthly mixers. They bring a load of clients here, they've stopped them all. So all we've done is remove quality.
Yeah.
That's what people are doing. They're saying people are going to get jobs and get a pay rise. The care sector have lost jobs. We are looking at tech to see how they can replace people, not how, within admin roles, those are the first on the chopping block because they're not funded. So
would that be through artificial intelligence or?
Yeah, we already use a lot of the AI, and so we've been digitalised for about 10 years.
Yeah.
We were one of the first adopters locally, but what we've done is we've offered more employment in the office for more of the sort of the client engagement, client participation groups, staff participation groups, that sort of thing. But those are all the nice to have, not the must haves.
Yeah.
And I think the provider market at the moment is thinking, right, what do I have to have and what is nice to have? And those nice to haves, unfortunately, are going to go, and providers are not ambitious anymore to get an outstanding rate, and they're just hoping to remain good. But again, it's just all back to front, because as a provider, and nobody's ethos is that, we want to go above, beyond. We want to set an example. But it's really hard when all they're doing is one day we're taking this away, and then the next day we're going to take that away. And that's what it's been like over the last couple of months. It's like something new every day. We're removing this. They announce it overnight, and then the next day it's like, sorry, no conversations, full stop. It's happening. Like, who's assessed this? What's the impact assessment? Where's the shortfall coming from? Especially companies that are local authority run, like us, we're 90% local authority. the councils are not giving it us. We can't just increase the fees elsewhere. It's cuts and no pay increases for staff. So it's really hard.
From a local perspective, you know, you're talking about your council. What were the kind of fee increases? How
We only got
people,
3%.
how are people going to justify 3% and push for better increases? What are you doing?
So at the moment, we've arranged a meeting with our local council. So we've asked them to reconsider. So we're still in those discussions. And you think it's coming in April. We're still waiting for the meeting. But I think, and that's what I've been encouraging people to do. Do freedom of information. See why. See when they had their meeting, what was discussed, what was the options, because they have to present more than one option. So get the minutes of the meeting and see what was said in the meeting. Then ask them for a meeting about the meeting, because that's what we're doing here, and challenge it. You know, there's councils that saying they've held consultations with providers, but providers are like, didn't happen. So there's a lot of things to be challenged, but we've got to do it in the right way. And it doesn't necessarily always mean a judicial review. And I know some people are going down that route, but there's a lot of risk to that. So I'm encouraging people just to speak to their MPs, get their MPs involved, get all the information they need, and get a face-to-face meeting. So, and that's what we're doing at the moment. So
you're kind of seeing all these negatives associated to the cost increase. If you're a care provider kind of looking at the increase to your bills, what suggestions would you give to them to kind of maximize cost efficiencies, but limiting damage that could take place in regards to quality? What would you suggest people do?
Well, it's really hard. And I think for us at the moment, we've always been really good at making sure in Dom Care that we streamline our rotas, make sure they're efficient. And if they're not, then, you know, we make moves on that. So what we've done is we've implemented more tech, we've implemented home monitoring services, and we are just in the process of registering for nurse-led TDDI services. So the governments have plans to make Dom Care providers more of a complex nurse-led service, and then utilise the vanilla care, somebody called it the other day. I think that annoyed me. Vanilla care. So use the PA market for sort of what we're doing, and then the regulated market for more of the complex thing. So I'm in the process of registering that business, which I've already got the skill set for it. I've got nurses working for me as carers at the moment, and I've got people trained up to the max. So actually, if I diverse into that market a little bit more, I can pay staff better. It will plug the gap. It will help us stand out. And I'm not registered yet. I'm just in the process of submitting my application. I sent a message out to everybody and said, I'm holding an informal chat this Friday if anyone wanted to join me. I'm not an expert, but I can just let you know what I've been up to, because I like to do that. I like to help people. And actually, I'm sat there saying, this is what you need to do. We need to be innovating still, which isn't going to cost us loads of money. So I think for me, we still have to innovate with as little investment as possible. We need to think outside the box. How can you streamline your services? Have you got things in your office that you don't need anymore? You know, have you got pieces of software that you were using because it was nice to have, but if you don't need it anymore, don't cut staff benefits. Unfortunately, again, I'm hearing a lot of the employment assistance programs and wellbeing roles have been removed. So, which is really, really sad. But I get it, because what do? Do you remove quality from a client, or do you move it from a staff? What choice do you make? It's really tricky, isn't it? And I think my advice is just to adapt, continue to innovate, and try and refocus some of your admin roles. I mean, what I've been really lucky with my team. I've got a brilliant team. So what we've done is some of the office staff can go out and do some of the community stuff as well. So they've got more of a mixed role. So we've just shuffled things about, and you know, there isn't any work in our area at the moment either, which is quite worrying. So, but again, I'm hearing this across the board because there's no funding to give people new care packages. So it's a really tough time, but I've been here before. I've been here before in the care sector where we've been uncertain whether we'll survive 12 months. But like I said to you before, I don't sit still. So I've been building tech for the last 2 years. So I built a software platform, which I'm launching later on this year.
What would it be?
Can't say
What?
just yet. It's a social care platform.
Okay.
And it aligns with the government's vision on sort of a national care service and neighbourhood teams, etc. And I'm in discussions with people at the moment, so we've got a lot of interest in it.
Amazing.
So I've been future-proofing my business and our direction for some time. So I feel like I'm slightly prepared, but I still don't want to lose sight of what I'm doing, and I want to make sure I carry on doing things for people in the right way. Yeah.
One of the other things that kind of kicked people whilst they were down was the international staff changes.
Oh.
You know, talking about future-proofing and kind of the dynamic that has come with that change.
Yeah.
Was it something you'd kind of planned for?
No.
So what do you do?
No, I mean, that got personal, didn't
Yeah.
it? That was really personal against staff, that move. It's like, welcome to the UK on a government-backed scheme. We want you, we need you, you're the best thing, you're the thing that's going to save social care. And then it's like, you weren't born here. Your passport doesn't say Great Britain on it. You're not welcome here anymore. And it goes against everything that we've done. If we didn't have international recruits, we would have all collapsed. The way at the moment, care, there used to be so much unsourced care, and the government would be going on about the state of the care system is terrible. We've got people waiting for packages of care. That was true because we couldn't get any staff and we couldn't retain staff. And then we have all the overseas come in, save the sector, bring all their loveliness, lushness, culture, just everything so amazing about them. They come and sort it all out. And then they're like, we still can't get care. The message is still the same, but it's just different. It's we can't get care because we can't afford it now because you've done such a good job. You've cost us too much money. And now there's no work to commission, because before, when you imagine they're sat on thousands of hours unsourced, they're saving money, aren't they? But we've now solved that problem, and they're like, well, you've got too many staff now. And I heard the other day, and I just could not believe it, some councils are removing providers' contracts until they sack some of their international staff.
What?
They're saying if you've got over 50% of your workforce that is not British,
Right.
you need to make sure it's under 50% by sacking some of your international workers. So we've got the government saying, right, we've got this displaced workers pool, which you have to use. You're not allowed to bring anyone in. And we're going to invest money because we really want these people to get placements. And then you've got this council going, you need to sack some people and get some British people that don't exist, by the way. And then you need to put those people into that displaced pool, which we're then going to fund to get a job somewhere else. How does that make sense? And, I just think the whole thing is terrible. And the uproar we had here with my international, I know every provider will say it right, but I really do have the best international workforce. And we have a lot of male. We got, I think we've got about 40 men in the company. They're lush. They're so amazing. They're so caring. We've got clients that were like, I would only have a female. And our emergencies happened. We've had to send it in there. And they're now, I only want him. And we get that when we first brought internationals in. It was a culture shock to a lot of our clientele, different generation and all. And they were like, we're not having overseas staff. And now I'm like, every day, can we have international staff only? It's quite funny how the times change. And it just goes to show you have to invest in these people. But I think the decision to announce that we've got an immigration issue and let's attack the ones that are here legally, been paying £56 million plus a year into national insurance and taxes, and let's get rid of them and use the 5 million working age adults that are claiming benefits. But those 5 million adults can come and apply for a job now. We've all still got job openings, so they could already be working for the care sector, or they could have before we opened the international recruitment. But they want to work in the care sector. And most of them are not eligible. They can't drive. They can't get childcare for 7 o'clock in the morning. They can't work weekends. So the problem is still the same as it's all been. You can give them as much training and decorate it up as a career pathway as much as you like, but actually if you can't do the hours and commit to weekends, etc., then we're still going to have the same issues. And our international workers are the core of this company, and they are phenomenal. And the fact that they all felt like they were dirty being in the care industry. It's just not acceptable. And I really feel for them. We're just renewing a load of ours now. Like I said, it's going to be another 180 grand investment for me. We get to renew them for 5 years. So it's a more expensive option, but we're doing it because we want them to feel that they've got some sort of security, because there's still whispers from 2028 it's going to be under review. So after 2028, can they carry on extending? Are they going to cut visa short? Nobody knows. Nobody's brave enough to answer the question when asked. So it's really uncertain. And I think I do everything. I go to the colleges. I have job out. We message 150 British people a week for Indeed, 150. And none, pretty much at the moment, convert into employees.
Really?
Because they're either not suitable or, as everybody knows, it's the famous, I've got to apply for 10 jobs a day to show the job centre that I'm applying for work, or I've got to attend one interview a week. Can you write me a letter to say I've been for an interview? And it's like, Indeed, unfortunately, is like the wasteland for benefit system. And I've been saying this for ages, and we're pretty much funding it, because we're wasting all my time and resource on interviewing people, and I'm not interviewing people that want to do the job.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's hugely why we come off it in the first place. But I don't think I know the sector will not cope if we are going to rely on 5 million working age unemployed people that are all ready to go, clear DBSs, love looking after people, and all that challenge that comes with it.
A hard question for you.
Go on.
When I was talking to Kevin Foster, we were talking about international staff, and one of the points around international staff, which was like a potential cause for concern, was when they get indefinite leave to remain,
Yes.
will they stay within care, or
Yeah.
will they kind of churn like some other people are saying with domestic staff in care?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think I have a couple of thoughts on it, really. You know, you hear about all those companies that set up dodgy care agencies, and then you also have good providers, not, mistreating international workers and exploiting them. So I get that. Don't agree with it, obviously. And I feel terrible that that happened. But I think if they've been with a provider and they've been treated well and they've been given that pathway, I don't think they will leave. I've got my workforce now, so I've got 49 that are up for renewal. They've got 2 years experience now. They've got qualifications. They could transfer to London, where they all wanted to be in the first place. They can move now. They can swap between sponsors, but they don't. They want to stay with me because I look after them. I do think if they've been working in the sector for 5 years, the likelihood of us retaining them is high. I think I've been bringing in workers to the UK so I used to do it in the care home. So once the license first opened, I brought in 10 Filipinos. Yeah. Those Filipinos still work in that care home now, even though I'm not there.
Wow.
They're still there now. One's a deputy manager. The rest are all senior carers. They stayed.
How many years was that? How
Well, that was when I was 21, and I'm 38 now. Yeah, I'm 38.
But that's incredible, though, to think that you were getting people to come to the UK to have these care visas.
And I think it's how you make them feel comfortable. As long as they've got that good work-home life balance, you pay them right. And unfortunately, a lot of the guys from Sri Lanka, India, the money to them is good because how it converts back at home, but it's not good for us. And I had a bit of an argument the other day about the fair pay agreement. The union were there, quite excited about it. And I said to them, well, you're excited about it because you're getting funded. You're going to get funded to do all this. I'm not excited because I want the staff to have it, but who's paying for it? Because I can't. And then I said to him, so what about the overseas then? Because right now, the hourly rate for my overseas carers is higher than my British workers. So I said, if that was the other way round, or hell would break loose. So when we're talking about the fair pay agreement, are you telling me that fair pay agreement is going to be relevant to the international workers as well as the British workers? He said, yes, it will. I said, okay, so the Home Office are going to speak to you. Because we've not done that on this occasion, have we? We've not married up. Departments are not speaking to each other to make sure we're doing the right thing and not dividing and making a pay gap, let alone a gender gap, in the care sector. So it got dismissed quite quickly. But again, I think if we're going to roll out a fair pay agreement and try and look after the international workforce. It needs to align, it needs to marry up. But going back to the question about will they stay, I would say the majority definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we've got some time to make it more attractive. And with the right employers, they will do that. We try and poach overseas staff now. We all do it. Everyone does it. It's the new market. And people don't leave. If they're with the right employer, they won't leave. They're quite happy. And as long as they can send their money home and have their lovely holidays and they come in and they get a smile from everyone, they want to stay. They are very devoted, our overseas workforce, and we do look at each other like a family. So, and we treat each other, they bring me so much cake and so much cake. And every holiday, every festival, they come in and they bring gifts and they call me mom.
I'm their mom.
And they call me mom. I'm like, oh, it's so cute. You don't need to call me that, but I like it. But and just the level of respect, and they are committed. We've had people, we've brought them over, and no matter how much interviewing you do, we went over to India to interview. We did like 150 interviews in a week. It was crazy. I was knackered. But you can pick up on the characters and everything. And with ours, they're all heart. They are so respectful. We've had a couple that have been not so great, but they just didn't stay with the company very long. You've got to have the right attitude in this line of work. But the rest of them have been with me. So all the ones I'm renewing now have been with me 2 years already, and then I'm renewing now for 5.
Okay, so that's fantastic. And I think what's interesting is there are still some providers that have high turnover of staff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like two-part issue that we have, which is how do you recruit staff, how do you retain staff?
Yeah.
With the staff that you have, domestically, 70,000 staff have left the market over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So how are we supposed to retain the staff that we have? Because you seem to have a fantastic culture within Bay Care. So why is that? What have you done that's kind of infused that culture into
I think because my ADHD, obviously I've got a flea in my ear, I stick to it, I hold grudges forever. And I think with my team, they see me fighting. They see me, I'm going on TV, I'm getting involved with providers unite, I'm sitting here with you now, I invest into challenging what's not right for them. I sit and just challenge national insurance, but actually my message is, you are disabling me from paying my staff better.
Yeah.
So it's how you fight for them. And I think for me, they look at me, I'm with them. We are a family. So if you're leaving tomorrow, I'm going to be talking to you personally and seeing what I can do to make you stay. And if it's career progression, it's something like that, you're always welcome. The door's open. So I think those type of things, but getting new people in is the challenge. It really is a challenge because you've got all the big supermarkets. We've now got lots of amazing stuff going up at the epicenter with innovation and tech and new businesses coming down and bloody influencers and TikToks and all of that sort of thing that's really easy to make money on, isn't it? Especially if you're just selling product. So I think that the markets, because we're more of a digital market now, and society care is sort of bottom of the.
But don't you think that's going to change though? Because I find it so interesting how, 10, 15 years ago, it was when you're in school, study for computer science or do programming or do this back office job or whatever.
Yeah.
And then now you've got it where AI is coming in and it's starting to just replace all of those jobs. People are going to go back into the market.
Yeah.
How do you kind of look at the next generation and say, there are things here that we need to promote that they have a misunderstanding around? How would you promote that?
Yeah. I don't know. So for me with AI, I know there's going to be tech for preventative stuff. I see our staff as technologists anyway. They're technologists, they're therapists, they're pharmacists, they're all of that. And I see them being less burdened with a lot of the routine admin rubbish where they can fully focus on the human element of it. I don't think that ever be replaced by robots. Some people are saying, oh, look at this. And no, I don't think that just will ever happen. But watch this back in 20 years and then we're like, Kat, remember that time you said?
Yeah, everyone's robots.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so many like amazing techie things coming out now, all your wearable devices where you can record your meetings and I do think people will find more reward in the job when they're doing less of the mundane stuff, and they're just focusing on the person-to-person interaction.
Yeah.
I do think the clinical aspect will increase, which will then give people more pathways into nursing, but with less need for sort of high-end universities. I can see that it becoming an easier pathway, clinical pathway, but it's a really hard question, isn't it?
What are people telling you when you go to, job fairs, colleges and stuff like that? What are they saying about care?
They just don't want to work in care.
Why?
This
What's
is what they
the
say. No, thanks, not for me.
yeah?
Not
Is
for
it
me.
because of the personal care kind of misnomer?
So we do get that quite a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of it is money. It's always money. Money is the biggest problem, and unsociable hours.
Yeah.
So we tried doing mommy hour runs, 9 till 2. We've done all that. We've got some of those, but again, it's the community care is a hard thing. There's so much door to door to door, and then when you've got the government saying about neighbourhood teams and the fact that you'll only be responsible for these postcodes, that'd be amazing. Because right now I'm crossing another provider in the same building, and actually I could have been doing that client, but there's too much competition in the market. There's too many providers in the market. They've been popping up left, front, and centre everywhere, and that's made long-standing historic providers less viable because other people are stepping in. But CQC need to look at that. They need to rethink that side of things. So. Yeah, it is a tricky question overall that I can't answer.
But what I find interesting about your journey is you always go back to like collaboration.
100%.
So
Yeah.
even like a singular answer about something, it's like, well, you might have an inkling of what it should be, but if you don't crowdsource, you're kind of in a petri dish.
Yeah.
So you get to go out and talk to so many more people. What kind of collaboration have you seen work best in social care, and how do you think it needs to continue to expand?
I think any collaboration really. I've constantly in my area been bring the providers together. We're not competition. There's enough work for all of us. I need you as a larger provider in the area. I need you guys. You need me. We all need each other. And I think it's really key to share, because when a lot of providers will keep things, this is my secret, and I want us to, stand out for it. Actually, why? I find that really selfish, because actually if you've thought of something that can better the lives of other people, share it, because that's what I do. I tell everyone. I'm like, well, I'm doing this registration, and people are like, why are you telling people? And I'm like, well, others might want to do it, but yeah, you want to get there first so you don't do yourself out of work. And I'm like, no, let's just all, it's a fair game.
Absolutely.
And I think collaboration is key to any growth. So the tech I'm building, I collaborated with somebody on it. They bring different expertise. I can focus on the passion, the element, the functions, what I want it to do as a 360 solution. The person I've collaborated is tech, business, sales. We're a match made in heaven, business wise. and then we all come with connections, and then there's further collaborations going on, and then you start talking to people that offer something so wacky and out of your trade, but I look at that and think, how can I get that into my system and my sector? And that's how my brain works quite differently. And so I'm currently on my software, we've collaborated with about 15 different people, and they are all different sectors.
Wow.
All different styles, and they're all want to do it for the right reason, and what they've got to offer is amazing. And I think the only way you will succeed in life is by collaborating. And providers or businesses that are not open to that are never around very long, in my opinion. So I will continue to collaborate, and I think that's where I've had my best relationships, my best ideas. I think it's the way forward. And in the care sector, I've always tried to advocate with other providers. If you're struggling, talk to me. And if I've got work that might be better for yours, let's talk, let's swap it around. If you've got gaps in your rota and you've got a run that's not viable and it's burying you, message me. I might have the same thing. And maybe you can give me some of yours and I can have a bit of mine. It's those sort of things that just picking up the phone. That I always say that to everyone, pick up the phone. If you don't want to put it in writing, just pick up the phone. Let's talk about it. And Yeah, that is the key to any successful business. And I think that's what's happened with Providers Unite. We've all collaborated, we've all come together, and it's the biggest movement ever known in the social care sector because it's not, that's my movement, that belongs to Kat, that belongs to Nadia. It's none of that. It's you own it. We're in this together. Every opinion matters. And let's go for it. So,
And it seems like it's more of a movement than a business model.
not
Like
business.
that's a bit, that's
No.
that's the most important thing, isn't it? It's like it's not a
100%.
business.
And that's what I go into collaboration with. If someone's doing, I get meetings all the time. Kat, as there might be a possible collaboration.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean financial collaboration. It might mean, can you introduce me? And I love introducing people to people. I don't know what. It probably gives me some dopamine. I've done something nice. I see an old lady walking across that. I go and help them. I feel better. I get some dopamine from that. And I'm the same with business. If someone, I've done a couple of demos lately, and I'll sit and I'll be like, right, how can I plug this into what I'm doing? How can I give them some really good advice on it? And then I just think, no, it just doesn't sit in. But I know somebody that it might sit in with, and there might be some synergy, and I'm going to do an intro. And that's the type of thing I do all the time. And those things pull off. And I get lovely messages saying, Kat, so much. Thanks so much for that intro. So I think that's what we need to do. We need to, Providers Unite, we're doing that, but I still think there's more to be done. And I do think we all sat here saying that we're in a sector because we care, but we also need to care about each other as business owners. And if we don't, then the market just will not survive.
Random question for you.
Yeah.
I can't remember what percentage it was, but I think it's like 35% of providers were thinking about giving their contracts back.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned the individual who was in a really bad mental space. There are going to be so many more care providers in a similar position, especially those smaller ones. And if they aren't connected to your network, for example, then you're not going to have like other like-minded people showing up and supporting them.
100%.
How do they build, that resilience or the tolerance or an understanding around the issues that they're facing? How you're talking about being a fighter.
Yeah.
How do you get those people to kind of?
They just need to add me.
Yeah.
They just need to. We've got no money. Providers Unite has no money. It's all done on heart, and that's again something I love about it. And Nadia's been really we've done the movement. She's like, we don't want people to be sponsors. We don't anything like that. We need to keep it all cashless, and if people want to donate a bus or a banner, they can do it, but they buy it, and I think for us, it's just really key to getting all that messaging out so people know Providers Unite's there, and that's what we're about. And, I message on every day, join the WhatsApp group, message me now. I think, through all the councils, because we've wrote to all the councils on behalf of Providers Unite now, we've asked them all to share our information. And we're part of NADRA, and that's linked up with the Care Providers Alliance. So they've pushed out to all of the associations to push out that Providers Unite is here. NADRA's going and talking at loads of these associations. So we're getting, the message is getting out there. There's still people that have not heard of us. But those are the ones that don't attend anything and still don't have emails. Which would be amazing. But we are trying to push that message out. Anyone's welcome. Like absolutely anyone's welcome. It don't cost anything. And I think for some providers, they can't do it on their own. They can't. And, I have someone I vent to. We all have someone especially at the top, it's hard. You don't have a supervision or appraisal, do you? You're the appraiser. So I think you have to, brave it and put your heart out on the line to other providers because we're all in the same position. So just join us.
But it seems like you've got a lot of hope, you've got a lot of optimism.
You have to.
So what is your perspective of the future of care?
I think we've got to ride the wave. I'm hoping there's a U-turn.
Yeah.
I'm really, really hoping that there's a U-turn. We've got the Casey report being done. I think it's an impossible task when you've got one department not speaking to the other department and decisions being made ad hoc, how somebody can analyse and do a report on something when the dialogue changes on a day-to-day basis is beyond me. And I think all the lobbying that Providers Unite's doing, we've got members now who are in Westminster again today. We've got people meeting their MPs every day. There's so much lobbying going on behind the scenes. And I think we just got to carry on doing what we're doing and hope that there's a U-turn, and we just need to try and ride this wave with as little impact as possible. That's all we can do. We will lose providers. We will. We've already lost providers and we're losing providers.
Yeah.
So what will happen at the moment, you'll see the domino effect, and then the ones that are larger providers, they'll pick up those smaller providers. And is this a way of the government reducing some of the resource in the market?
Mm.
We won't get into that one. But I think that's what people will benefit of some of those, those companies that have to liquidate, close up, sell up. I don't know if people will buy in that. I went to the Langbusen event the other day, and they were saying it is a investors market care home side at the moment,
Right.
but dom care, not so much.
How would a dom care provider kind of go through this wave then? How do they
I think
survive and
you've
thrive?
just got to tighten your belt.
Yeah.
You've got to tighten. We do lots of so many different things here. Just like, for instance, our PPE, we get quotes from providers every month. I mean, it's normally an annual exercise, isn't it? But we put people into fighting wars over pricing every month. So we've just done that again. We do that with our telephone lines. Any subscriptions that we've had or memberships that we've had, we just got rid of them all. We've just had to plug the gap. We used to put on chauffeurs for people that were walkers here. So we've stopped all that now. So we don't do that any longer, but we've got most people through driving. So we've sort of been making ourselves more efficient along the way, and we've left some investment in the business from personal investments over time as well. So we're okay for now. They don't keep springing anything on us, but we need to carry on diverting our model like we are to make sure we can stay in the amber. Not even the green. I was going to say green, and then I was like, no, that would be a lie. So we just have to ride the wave, don't we? And then in 6 months' time, I might be saying, that the tide's out. I'm out now, but hopefully not. But providers are exiting, and some just have enough.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like we're completely under siege at the moment, and it's like, what is next?
And what's the thing that wanes? The thing that wanes is quality. Quality is getting shot in the foot, basically.
And anyone that says any different,
Yeah.
I just don't believe it. I've had a lot of, but no, my quality's not affected. And I put my stuff up to the wage. How are you plugging the gap then? Because you said you were minus profit. Something's gone. What is it? What have you done? And it's, some people will still keep it close to their chest. And, like I said, providers have told me what they've made cuts on. And actually, it's the right thing to make some cuts on, because you can't cut the care.
Yeah.
If you're saying to people, cut your hour visit down, 30 minutes, I'm going to double book you, that I've got a problem with. But actually, if you're saying to people, we can't provide a uniform, still horrible, not nice, but I'd rather than that choice than call cramming and care quality being affected in that way. It's a quality of looking after people and going above and beyond that's being cut, and it naturally will be.
It's not a long-term solution what the government's doing.
No.
So what would your message be to the government, either via yourself or via Providers Unite? You're lobbying. So what is the message?
I think it's just fund the increases.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing rules in, the NICs, the immigration charges, 35%, anything that you're enforcing the fair pay agreement, as long as you fund it, we'll be fine. Quality will not be affected. That budget that was allocated to innovation is now gone, and it's been put back in to try and pay staff wages. But what we want to do is bring that budget back, and we want to make sure we're still offering the staff rewards and making the culture of the workplace the right thing. So that invites people into the sector, which right now it's gone back to sort of old school times where we're not doing everything we could be doing, and that's hard. So I think fund changes, everyone. This is what you do. If you want an upgrade on holiday, you have to pay for it.
Absolutely.
You can't keep enforcing things with nothing to back it up. So, we keep throwing money into the black hole. And I see more money allocated to health and social care the other day. But there'll be no social care. That would just come under the same title. But we've still not had no commitment to funding to us. So it's that lobbying we need to continue with. And we need to expose the lies. We need to, you've told us this. And actually, a lot of the associations won't come forward because they work in these departments. But Providers Unite, we can say what we want.
Yeah.
We haven't got to answer to anyone. So we will come out and tell, we'll expose the truth, we'll whistle blow and try and make sure that things are changed to better the lives of people. Because I don't actually think, unless you receive a package of care, it doesn't affect you, does it?
No.
It doesn't affect you at all. And that's what's really hard, is about how we educate the public as well. And that's something we're trying to work on, so that people understand the sector. You still get, idiots that comment about the biggest profit-making sector.
Because to your point, it always feels like they have this like 1980s perception of social care.
Yeah.
So you've got like the two things: it's quality of care in care homes, and everything else is really bad, and they're in horrible conditions. And then you've got the other side, which is, and they're also the biggest money makers. And it's like this massive misnomer. What can we do to educate the public?
And I think that all comes down to the press. And it's funny, I hate politics, by the way. I read Politics for Dummies once I started getting involved in Providers Unite. So I was like, I just need to understand. There's all these buzzwords going on, like whipped and all sorts like this. And I'm thinking, what are we talking about here? So I think it's the press. And at the moment, I'll see a story. So I'm involved in a story that's coming out. And it'll be amazing for the sector fighting back. And then all of a sudden, the news will put out, look at this terrible care home, neglect, abuse. And I'm like, well, that was unfortunate timing. Then the next story comes out, we're doing something amazing. And then all of a sudden, another scandal. I'm thinking, hang on, who's controlling the media here? Because it's all very timely. And what you don't see every day is, out of the 16,000 care providers, operating every day, outstanding. You don't hear any of this. You hear about that one bad one. And then they omit to say, well, that's council run actually, and that's council owned service. It's not even a private owned service. And then you have the larger providers that are private equity backed. That was a thing.
Yeah.
So of course they're all right.
Yeah.
But then also you can go to somebody's company accounts and be like, well, they're turning over loads of money. Hang on. That company owns property. That company has other investments within that company. You can't read a company's accounts and think that's all from care service. And also you look at some companies and be like, well, they're 70% local authority and 30% private. You don't know what that private element looks like. So there's still a lot of judgment. But then again, we're all sitting here moaning that we haven't got enough money, and then the news come out and be like, billionaire care home invests into this, and you just think, oh my God. But then you look at it, so somebody like me would look at it and be like, that's all property. That you can see he builds complexes. It's different. But to the public, see, that's how much money they're making in care. So I think the press have a lot to answer for. And actually, if they could change that messaging somewhat, I think that would help. And I think they would need some government guidelines towards changing that message. I mean, they've got the Proud to Care campaign, which is a heavily, heavily funded national campaign to promote the sector to do exactly this, make it more appealing. Have you heard of Proud to Care?
No.
No more to say. No more to
I'm only
say.
doing the demographic.
Well, it's national. It's national, darling. But I think it's these sort of things. And actually the target is for people that don't have care. It's for people that, like, we want you to change your mind and not work here and come and work in care. So it should have reached you, So money's being spent to try and get that message out there. And I know the councils are working quite hard to educate people that receive a service, but getting people as a whole to understand it, we're not doing a very good job of it. So
I think it was Providers Unite, maybe it was even you, that was talking about the Adolescents Netflix series, right? It's like that came out and then you had, everyone across the UK was talking about it, right?
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, but then you kind of think, well, if you had the equivalent thing in social care,
100%,
that would change minds very quickly.
100%, and we vote to.
Did you?
Yeah, we wrote to them about that. So the moment, so Providers Unite wrote to them and said, because we've done a short film anyway. So that will be released soon. I am allowed to say that.
You are?
So yeah, I'm allowed to say that. So I think Nikki would kill me if I forgot. So we wrote to them exactly that example, saying about the work that we've been doing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But because Kieran Starmer liked the TV show, which by the way I really struggled. It was quite long. And I'm one of these, when you watch something, I need it to conclude. And there were so many unanswered questions that I was like, how I can't conclude on this.
Right.
Did he go to prison? What did happen? Did he see his dad? There was too much for me. And I think, I was triggered by it. I was like, hang on, this is even getting posted about on socials.
Yeah.
But social care's here crumbling, desperate for money, and we literally don't get a look in. I think the day after we were all screaming and marching, he announced an £8 million boost for a toothbrushing campaign. And I actually was like, this has got to be a joke. £8 million for toothbrushing campaign. Like, don't parents do that? Like, what? We need that funded. So I found that a major insult, but I do think if we just got a seat at the table, you've got other people, associations and stuff all attending, but not the right people from the movement that need to be there, and actually give some really basic suggestions. And we can work around the barriers, the funding, the red tape. We can work around that. We do that. We make decisions every day in our sector, and we change things daily like that. Implement, adapt, innovate, sort of what we do on a day-to-day basis. They need us. We just don't get a seat at that table. So that's what I'm drumming for. And I keep saying, give us a seat. You will value us by the end of it. And it will be a mutually beneficial arrangement. But they just got to let us in.
Amazing. You have a lot of energy.
I know. Thank you.
It's really interesting to see, how you only recently got diagnosed about ADHD.
Yes, yeah.
If other people have ADHD, how would you suggest they best channel it? So
oh my God, I got so many messages the other day.
Yeah.
So I only come out I think 2 weeks ago, and I had something like 45 messages, all CEOs, top leaders, like, oh my God, I can't believe you've come out. How did you do it? I need help. And I've been helping people.
Really?
I literally was at home cringing, thinking when that comes out tomorrow, everyone's going to delete me. No one's going to want to talk to me again. Self-sabotage mode kicked in. And just, the feedback, and everyone's like, ditto, me too. And you're looking, and they're all high earners, high profile people. And you think, wow, why was I keeping that in a box? So I think, and I've been saying to them, just come out, be proud. And everything that all your fears are in your own head. And actually the only way we can manage ADHD correctly is if we challenge the dialogue. And that's exactly what I did. And I feel so much better for it. Because before I'd go to a meeting and be like, just so you know, I've got a bit of ADHD. And I'd whisper it like it was a dirty secret. So if I get a bit anxious, you know why? And I probably wasn't going to get anxious. In my head, I was telling myself I was going to get anxious. And people are just like, all right.
Yeah.
It's like walking in and saying, my hat's red, but it's blue. People just be like, all right, whatever you like, love. So it's, it's been really eye-opening. And I mean, it's your superpower. Let it be known that you are unique, but for all the right reasons. Because actually people with ADHD, so intelligent, they're so passionate, committed, and we thrive off of dopamine, and we get dopamine from doing the right thing and being good people. So actually, although you think, God, they're so lovely, we're getting something out of it, right? We're getting that dopamine hit, which we need to function. So it works both ways. Don't brave it, own it, wear it like your superpower uniform.
Amazing.
Love it.
Where you have quite a lot of people that are within care, trying to grow themselves, try to become leaders in care, similar to yourself and your journey, what would you give them as advice? Aspiring leaders.
Risk take.
Okay.
Absolutely. I am impulsive, but I thought about it. I haven't just been like, right, I'm going to do this. I've researched it, studied it, I do all of that, but I've took the risk and I've planned it out. So I know the risk, I know what can go wrong and what I'm going to do when it's gone wrong, if it goes wrong, but I'm going to hope it doesn't go wrong. Okay. So I just do that 3-point moment and I take that risk. And if you're worried about taking the risk, speak to somebody that is in your sector, or me, just bring me, I'll tell you. And just take it, because actually those are the best. There's some of those, but that risk taking, we say it about clients, let them take their own risk. We need to do that in the sector. Don't just sit and think doing business as usual is you're going to be here in the next 5 years, because we all know you're not. We've got to step up our game. We are we are private independent sector, a majority of us, and you want to stand out. If you've got nothing that you can bring that you think can stand out unique, see what other people are doing. Do it, brave it, embrace it. And nothing, I've always said that nothing is a silly question or a stupid idea. Test it, but just don't spend loads of money. Just test it in another way first. Don't waste any money, and just reach out. I love, people always ring me, message me, can I show you this? Do you think it's a good idea? And I can't lie. I literally cannot lie. So I will tell them the truth. And they're like, Kat, we love speaking to you because we know you'll tell us how it is. And I think that peer-to-peer, reach out.
Yeah. You're basically becoming the country's care therapist, something like that. Like, anyone in care is coming to you. One thing you mentioned was kind of innovations in care, how you're looking at technology, you're building technology, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
There is less than 5% of technology in social care which was built with a social care provider. So it's kind of crazy to think that so much has been built for the sector without the sector's opinion to some extent.
It's mad, and that's why it doesn't work.
No, exactly. It's kind of,
and I always say this.
Purpose-built.
I say you spend all these money, and I've been quite open that tech providers are exploiting the care market. Some of these charges, I know the server costs, I know what they're paying. I know they've made their investment back tenfold, and they're still going for providers at stupid fees. But it's not fit for purpose. It's clunky. It doesn't talk to each other. Some of it's not safe. And tech providers do need to think about the sector struggling at the moment, and they do really need to look at their fee model. And I think anyone that's looking to use a tech system, really investigate it. And I know a lot of people be like, some of the new stuff come out, it's not been around for long. So but actually, some of this new stuff's coming out has been built in a different way. So I have been having a look, because I do this. I look at new tech and innovations and pick it to pieces, and I love doing that. And some of the newer tech is certainly so much more intuitive than what we're paying for, cheaper, and has a lot more functions and reliability. I would certainly advise people do the homework. But with AI, I'm still saying we need to be careful and cautious in how we're using it, where we're using it. And if people are saying that they've implemented it into their business, are they insured for it? Because I tell you, most insurance companies are having issues because providers are implementing it and not insuring them for it. So I think that we need to not be silly and think that a bit of tech's going to do everything for us, but absolutely look around. I mean, it is a bit boring, but I think if you go and have a look, something will be like, oh wow, that I could use that. I could utilize that to save X, Y, Z. Just things like newsletters. I know a provider that sends out a newsletter that costs £1,500 a month to post. And like, why are you spending £1,500 a month on postage? Why don't you just put them all in this app and message them all? Or the next tickets. It's just little things that you can implement that will change and save you money in the business, but people need to also embrace it. I still know people that haven't got emails, digital care logs, but they're small providers. And actually they're probably tighter on their money because they're doing less work and it's more of a payroll for them. So that they're not struggling as much. But I think we do need to embrace tech, and we do need to look at some of the newer tech that's coming out, because it's definitely been built in a different way. And I would say bravely that a lot of it is more advanced. So yeah.
Would you say technology for you is more front facing, so more like care planning, management, those things, versus back office?
It's all of it. So we use AI, we use all the home digital. So we're completely paperless. There's nothing in this office that is paperless. We've got a printer for stuff that's sent to us. councils or trust, really. We have to upload it in some cases, but it's digital is the way forward. I think I would say it's mainly in the care area because you've got your care planning, your staff. If you imagine, we used to write a care plan, do a timesheet, send the care notes over, send you your rotas, send the family. I'd say it's more with them than the back office.
Yeah.
But here it's more streamlined with all your quality, your compliance, your training. You remember when you used to have to send out training workbooks and hope you got them back in, covered in all sorts of coffee and tea and stuff like that. And it'd take 3 months to do until somebody passed that. It's just having the digital supervisions, mentoring, AI companions. I just think, it's 50-50. Yeah, no, 50-50 across the board.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yeah.
What excites you about care? Looking forward, what excites you?
I've seen that care can be done in a different way, so much simpler in my sector, in the home care sector, not into the care homes. I won't get into that, but some people are doing an amazing job at the care. I mean, I look at the style and boutique of the level of care homes out there at the moment, and they're smashing it. But in the dom care sector, there's so much more that we can do to save money, give a home first approach, and give our staff more accountability and value. If we just work in a different way and stop commissioning things. This neighbourhood team, they commissioned a pilot, and I'm thinking, I'm sat on 50 hours a day in that area. It would have been cheaper for you to ask me to do it than to pick a whole new team to do it, because I'm already in that neighbourhood. It's just how we stop separating things and we look at it holistically and be like, right, that talks to that could talk to that, and actually we can give them more. And we can actually remove a lot of the jobs that the NHS are trying to do within the community, give it to the providers. And it's not about privatising it because it's still funded and we're not getting inflated costs. We all know that. We're getting the same amount, well, less. It's cheaper to give it to us as a provider than it is for them to run it in-house. So I think for me, it's about how we broaden the services that we offer. And for that, we need the councils and the care trust to sit with us and trust us. It's getting that trust that we can do it. Not every care provider can do it. We know that, right? But the majority of their lead providers and innovators, we can make changes tomorrow that will benefit everybody. If in the NHS it takes them 20 years to get an IT system rolled out, audited, with us we do it the next day. We're very reactive, proactive. We have got as much red tape. So it's how we can remove some of the services controlled in a way that prevents preventative care and innovation, and we put it into the independent sector so that we can thrive. Wow. That for me is the future, and that's what I've offered a new service to my local council, and I got told, Kat, you're 3 years too ahead of us. So that's the message. That's the sort of answers I don't like. I need to change. So I didn't take that answer. I've now gone to meet somebody else. But that's what I do. You carry on pushing. You don't give up. And some people will give up. But you just got to carry on fighting. If it's a good idea and you believe in it, then you just got to get in front of the right person, and they will also believe in it.
Amazing.
So just keep smiling.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
No problem. There we are.
Cool.